And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey everybody, Ken here with the RoadWorthy Drive crew in studio getting ready for another hour of our program. The crew, as usual, the usual suspects, Jack over in the controls.
Hello.
Sasha holding it down in the tech world at Mike 2, and yours truly. Say hi, Sasha.
Hello, Sasha.
Well, that figures. Anyway, this hour on RoadWorthy Drive, a little rummaging around in the parts bin, and I'm kind of on a theme here lately, and this theme for this hour is highway maintenance and gasoline taxes.
Boring.
Could be, but, you know, it's been in the news. The current administration had proposed a 25-cent a gallon increase in gasoline tax. Hasn't been increased in 25 years. Not sure, however, it is the right approach with everything we've talked about on this program today, that raising gas taxes is going to raise the kind of money that's needed to keep our roads and highways and bridges in good repair. But we'll explore that and explore maybe some other alternatives that may work better. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that, plus all the snarky comments from the peanut gallery right here during this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. So
Are we snarky?
Yes.
And are we the peanut gallery?
Yes.
Well, we've known that for how many months now? I think we're working on 13, 14.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, folks, yeah, fun times right here. Glad you could join us. Jack, 11 minutes.
11 minutes, sir. Are we ready, guys?
We are ready.
Here
Party
we go.
time.
Do you wanna go faster? Yeah!
It's RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester. Ken loves talking about cars and automotive trends. And here he is, the automotive host with the most, Ken Chester.
This is indeed RoadWorthy Drive. Welcome to another information-packed hour. I'm your host, Ken Chester. This hour, the conversation will be around roads, highways, byways, bridges, and the like, and the current thoughts about infrastructure. For about 60 years, the most effective way to generate the funds necessary was by state and federal gasoline and diesel fuel taxes. Question is an increase in those taxes today still the right way to go? We will discuss. But before we do, let me introduce the other members of the in-studio RoadWorthy Drive crew. My friend and executive producer, Jack, is manning the control board, while social media diva and outgoing personality, Miss Sasha, is holding it down on mic 2. Howdy, guys.
Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy. And how's everybody?
I'm good. I had another meeting with the suits this week.
Uh-oh. What happened?
No, we had to work out a few things, and they are looking at your suggestion.
Well,
Snacks?
No.
new
What?
chairs.
There he goes.
There
right
we
there.
go.
Ding, 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 ding.
We have a winner.
Yes, they brought you this other wonderful chair
It doesn't work.
that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But it's newer.
Mhm.
It doesn't
But it
have
still doesn't work, though.
Can I tell you something?
the... yeah.
No, that chair is not newer. The one that he is newer because that one
Didn't work when they got it?
came from the other building. Give me a second.
12 years ago. 13 years ago
12,
now.
12, 13 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in perfect shape except for the fact that it doesn't work.
Pretty much.
And it shows absolutely no wear and tear because, of course, again,
It
it
doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't get political on me. Anyway,
No.
do not.
And if you're a first-time listener,
You thank you. And you want to connect with the RoadWorthy Drive crew? It's easy. Call or text me via the RoadWorthy Drive line at 872-222-9793 or email me. That's Ken at roadworthydrive.com. Either way connects you to the show. And, of course, believe it or not, all of us on the crew want to hear from you. Now, regular listeners know that about now, I start rummaging around for news, and I call it From the Parts Bin.
okay, Ken, what is in the parts bin this week?
I've got one thing
Okay.
in the parts bin. Consumer Reports lists top 2018 cars.
And by the look on your face, I'm going to probably say that you have no way in heck agreeing with anything on this list.
Oh, my. No, it's not quite that bad. But I will tell you something.
Okay.
There is no, and this might come as a shock to Sasha. Yes.
Premeditary shock
Yeah.
right now.
Okay, good. No Tesla on the list.
What? It's been rigged. Rigged, I tell you.
No Tesla on the list. There are 4 Toyotas, 2 Chevrolets,
Okay.
and 1 Ford. And a smattering of a Subaru and a BMW, believe it or not, on the list.
Okay, so let's get to it.
Well, I'm gonna go domestic here first,
Okay.
and then kind of loop around because it was kind of a surprise. Compact. They actually have a category for this. Compact green car, top of the list.
Compact green car. Toyota Prius.
Chevrolet Bolt.
What?
Really?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Let me read what they had to say about that, just so very briefly. They said, the Bolt proves that electric cars need not apologize for a lack of driving performance. Distinctive looking, brisk handling, tight handling, 250-mile electric range. And they said, all told, GM has performed an impressive feat with the Bolt. They liked it.
Okay.
Okay. Let me skip down to this. Another surprise. Large car. Top of the list for a large car.
Foreign or domestic?
I'm not going to tell you. That would give it away.
I have no idea.
Hold on to something. Hold on to something, because you ain't going to believe it. Chevrolet Impala.
Wow.
Chevrolet Impala. And it's what they said. Continues to be a gem among large cars, providing a driving experience that's more akin to a luxury car. The spacious, quiet cabin is well dressed with high-quality materials and trim. The roomy, supportive front seats coddle occupants, and the rear seats are generously proportioned. We favor the V6 for its abundant, smooth power. Those in the market would be wise to consider an Impala.
Well, and see, and it's been so long since I've owned a car.
Mm-hmm.
I've either had SUVs or pickups
Mm-hmm.
that I would still not buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
I either want an SUV or I want a pickup.
Yeah.
And I said
Same.
2 things. One, when I saw the redesigned Impala about 3 years ago at the Chicago Auto Show,
Right.
I said then they would sell every single one they could make. It was an amazing car. I am glad that through time that's been backed up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, best full-size pickup.
Ford F-150.
We have a winner. He is right.
Yes.
The best never rests, they say, and it's a best-selling truck for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
The best-selling vehicle in America is an impressive, innovative workhorse. These are words from Consumer Reports, not me.
Mm-hmm.
The F-150 pulls ahead of the pack thanks to its weight reduction design and turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. Clever features abound, from the Sync 3 infotainment system to the Pro Trailer Backup Assist, which simplifies the otherwise tricky task of backing up while towing a trailer. Now, here's the thing they end with, and again, Consumer Reports, and I quote, "It's an excellent truck."
And that's
F-150.
why we buy them.
That's why. A couple of interesting asides. Not a surprise. Best compact car, Toyota Corolla.
Mm-hmm.
Midsize car, again, not a surprise. Toyota Camry. Remember my rant from last week.
Right.
Minivan, not surprised. Toyota Sienna, not surprised.
Well, and I'm not either. Didn't you say at one point here coming up that Dodge is probably going to quit making the Caravan?
Well, the Grand
Not very
Caravan,
long.
the Grand Caravan is in its previous generation, and they're going to make it until nobody buys it.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a fleet minivan now. If you rent a minivan, chances are it'll be a Dodge Grand Caravan
Okay.
because they didn't upgrade it with the Chrysler Pacifica. It's
Okay.
being built on the previous generation minivan chassis, and they're just cranking them out and dropping the price. Best compact SUV.
Honda Pilot.
No. Sasha, want to take a guess?
Toyota, but I forget what that one
No.
is. No?
What
No.
is it?
I don't know.
Subaru Forester.
What?
Yes.
Now, that really doesn't surprise me.
That
And I will-
surprises me.
I will throw this out at you, what they said. And what they said, this is a practical, smartly packaged small SUV that prizes fuel economy, room, visibility, and reliability over trendiness or flash. The standard 2.5-liter engine provides only decent performance, but it offers exceptional fuel economy. The Forester is a wise choice. It makes a pleasant travel companion, whether you're road tripping or commuting. I'll let that settle. Finally, I got to throw this out because typically foreign makes, particularly European makes, don't make their list.
Mm-hmm.
Luxury compact SUV, BMW X3, not a Lexus.
Oh, the X3 made it.
Oh.
Redesigned for 2018, the X3 is tops in its class. Its power is smooth and nearly immediate when you press on the gas pedal, even with the base turbo four-cylinder engine. The X3 is certain to delight those looking for an upscale SUV that is polished and fun to drive. The one they tested could be yours. Sticker price, $53,745.
A couple years ago, I test drove an X3 and an X5.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, give me the X5 any day. The X3 was just way too small for me.
Well, that's why they make an X1, an X3, and X5.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at coming out with something a little bit bigger called the X7, built in America.
That one I had not heard.
Yeah, it's coming. I haven't seen one yet, but I know of it.
Are they going to try to compete with what you're driving outside right now?
Well, it's upscale, so it's not going to compete with this. This is more the Volkswagen Atlas that I'm currently driving.
Mhm.
Wonderful vehicle, by the way, and very nimble. But that's more middle market than where BMW is. And that BMW is at least 10 grand more.
At least.
At least. So a few surprises from Consumer Reports. They usually in the past did not really like domestic vehicles, but it's nice to see that America is weighing in and kicking butt, taking names. When I return, money for highways. And you are tuned to RoadWorthy Drive.
Do you have a question, idea, or comment for Ken? You can let him know by calling 872-888-9793. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Leave Ken a voicemail message or a text.
I would have opted on the luxury compact car on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have opted to one size smaller. What they've got here is the Audi A4.
Mm-hmm.
Test drove the brand new Audi A3 about 4 years ago. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Audi A4 would be the luxury compact. The other one we didn't talk about, midsize SUV, Toyota Highlander. My brother has one, loves it. He's in Texas.
Now, the Highlander is Toyota's mid
Right.
kind of.
Yeah, because
And
the Land
it is
Cruiser.
a nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
My brother loves it, and he's hardcore. He's hard to impress, and he loves the thing.
Well,
It's
you know
great
what?
for him
I
and his
can
kids.
I could see that with your family.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that to be cruel.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay.
What I'm saying is you all seem to have some very common sense and you like simple things.
Well, I'll tell you, the Toyota is a very sophisticated vehicle, but very well made.
Now, what is the biggest Infiniti that is made as an SUV?
Let's see. I got to think about that. That'd be the QX80.
Okay.
It's big.
Well, yeah, and it's big and expensive too.
Yeah. And as they do. but-
Rivals right up there with the Cadillac Escalade.
Yep. And
price.
full-size Chevy.
Well, but
You're gonna pay north of 70 for a Suburban.
For a Suburban, yes.
Yeah. So, which is crazy.
And honestly, if I was going to drive a Chevy, I would drive a Tahoe way before I would drive a Suburban.
I can understand that. But Chevy has come quite a ways.
Oh, yes, they have. I'm not saying that they didn't.
They've come quite a ways. Well, okay, you've got that.
Hang on, I'm fixing.
Okay, he is fixing people.
Now, I do have a question, and honestly, I saw one of these on my way in here today. the Land Rover. Was that big boxy SUV
Yep.
from like the 1990s?
Yep.
Are those still a thing? I just have never seen. I hadn't seen
Very
one in
much a
years.
thing. Oh, yeah. Very much a thing.
Really?
Yeah. Whole model range of them.
Huh.
From the Discovery all the way up through the Velar, which I talked about,
Right.
all the way up to, let's see, it would be the Range Rover Autobiography, which is just shy of $200,000.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So next time you talk to the suits,
No.
You want an autobiography?
well, you know
Well,
what?
we can't get the suits to buy the chairs. Come on. Help me out here. Throw me a bone.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing: if
Mhm.
I was driving like a Toyota SUV,
Mm-hmm.
and then we put, like RoadWorthy Drive, across the back window,
Mm-hmm.
and then we used it for advertising purposes, it would work.
Cost of ownership would be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
A little hard to
Justifying the budget.
yeah.
And you're a little late because we've already had this budget approved, so we're operating on our
Well,
current budget.
And the only thing I'm trying to get approved right now with the suits is
Trip to SEMA.
well,
yes.
no, actually now it's 2.
right.
Because after last hour,
Right.
I sent the suits an email
Ah.
and basically said that we need to make a little trip to Indiana and go to Workforce.
Yes.
Oh, my.
Yes. Workhorse.
Is it Workhorse or Workforce?
Workhorse.
I'm sorry.
I keep
Horse-
saying the same thing.
Horse like a pony.
Yes. Workhorse.
Yeah.
Stop.
Okay. All right, people.
I didn't say a damn word.
And I'm in the middle of this circus. Totally in the
I'm
middle of
just
it, people.
laughing. I'm not
No.
saying
Yeah.
Again, not my monkey, not my circus.
Uh-huh.
what.
And that's my argument. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Next is the 67 Mustang.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Shelby Mustang.
Give me a Shelby any day.
I actually met Carol Shelby once.
That had to be a very wonderful opportunity.
It was awesome. Yeah. But then again, I've met Bob Lutz too.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But I'll tell you one thing: if there was ever a car guy that was so down to earth that it wasn't even funny, it was Carol Shelby.
Well, I've met a number of car people.
Well, I'm just telling you my experience. 'Cause
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen car people with their nose stuck up in the air. You wonder how they're not drowning.
I got nothing.
Okay.
I'm leaving that one alone.
Are you ready?
I am ready, sir. We are at 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
You've got the jingle.
I've got the jingle.
Okay.
Here we
He's
go.
got the calm, people.
Here we go.
This is the RoadWorthy.
I thought I had it.
All right, son.
Try it again.
And he's the adult in the room.
Oh, be quiet. Take 2.
The man, Carroll Shelby, engineer, race driver. The car, the Shelby Mustang GT.
To build my kind of car, I had to take an existing car and modify it. I could have chosen any set of wheels I wanted. I picked Mustang. Mustang is styled right, lean and strong looking, not fat and round. And Mustang has that long list of features and options. I'll tell you, when it comes to imitations, I've seen some, but competition for the original, I haven't seen any. Only Mustang makes it happen. These aren't just words, it's a fact.
Ford has a better idea.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to RoadWorthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. Highways and roads. Almost every American motorist has that one stretch of road that they would readily admit is just plain awful. Yeah, there's a stretch of county road I would recommend. Runs kind of borderline at 2 counties, runs north-south.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just north of Albion, Iowa. Yeah, that would be my nomination.
Well,
Runs about 20 miles.
but right now where we live, you're at the time of season where We have potholes swallowing cars.
And frost heaves.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a huge one at the bottom of my street. Yeah.
Yeah,
almost
more
lost
heave
children.
than frost.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, with the build out of the interstate highway system and a dramatic upgrade and expansion of other state and local roads and highways in recent years, our country is now faced with the repair and replacement of much of that investment. Countrywide, the cost is estimated to be in the tens of trillions of dollars. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, a few things of thought. Money for highways. Where to look.
Okay, would you say where to look?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, and I realize we'll get into this in the next segment,
Mm-hmm.
but we have the gasoline tax.
Mm-hmm.
Some states have toll roads.
Most states have gasoline taxes too.
And correct, you have federal and state gasoline tax.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At what point, if we're going to end up making this conversion at some point to electric vehicles, is it going to come down to that they're going to shove a tax on the electricity to help pay for the roads?
You know, that is a good question.
Or another question that I have is, at what point in time are you going to see your license plates and tags go up considerably?
They would have to.
No. Mobility people. Let that sink in for a minute.
Somebody's going to pay for it, and it's going to come down to the end consumer.
It is, but hold on a minute.
But
If you choose not to be an owner,
yeah, then you're
it's
not,
not
the
direct.
consumer.
plus also you can talk about use taxes, but if you're broke and poor, how is that going to? It's going to put you disproportionately at risk because you can't afford to be paying all this, unless they're going to give you some kind of credit at the pump to counteract what they're charging you elsewhere if you're below a certain income, or they're going to give you an allowance, or they're going to give you a break. Those are things we're going to be talking about in a little more detail in the next segment.
Okay.
But I want to just kind of lay the groundwork here. Drivers all over are finding when they hit the road hits back.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Poorly designed roads have resulted in deaths. Everyone agrees that crumbling highways should be fixed. Engineers say U.S. highways rate a D+. However, U.S. roads are in better shape than those in Sweden, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Australia. And this is according to a separate global survey by the World Economic Forum. Here's something. Now, you would think in Germany, the roads would be awesome, right?
Right.
Where the Autobahn was born, Western highways in the western part of the country are in poor shape because, remember, with reunification, they took all that money and put it in East Germany.
So are you telling me the Autobahn is collapsing?
It needs work.
Yeah, but don't they use like a higher grade of cement for their roads over there?
No, they use deeper
It's a thicker
pour.
cement.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's
Yeah.
18 inches compared to the U.S., which is 10.
And
Okay.
and the other thing too is that we have in this country,
actually,
as,
8, I'm
as
sorry.
we have all talked about here before, is the fact of you look at how many bridge failures that we are having in this country because they've had to put the money off for so long
Yep.
to replace the bridge until that bridge collapses. It's like,
Or is no longer safe.
or is no longer safe. And I don't remember how many years ago it was, but when the bridge fell on 35W up in the Twin Cities, that one was, they literally had to find the money to fix that bridge.
Yep.
Like the United States, most nations tax fuel and pay for road repairs out of their general budgets, which, of course, nowadays are not as fat as they used to be. Right here, like we talked about, we pay for highways and charge by charging drivers a fuel tax and funneling money to states through a National Highway Trust Fund. Guess what? 3 years ago, the fund was almost out of money. They voted an extension that July, another one in that October, before they agreed on a plan to provide that December, get this now, $281 billion. And that's only for 5 years for roads, bridges, and mass transit.
And you're starting to see now, or at least around here, where they've literally been taking big sections of the interstate and replacing them.
Well, they've been doing that for a number of years.
And they've been doing
yeah.
that for a number of years.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time to my friends and my family. Every time I go down to Kansas City, the roads in Kansas City, especially the interstate system, is always under construction. And just about the time they get done with everything, they got to turn around and start over to the beginning again.
Yep.
The federal interstate system today, it has grown to now 47,000 miles.
Wow.
At first, the Highway Trust Fund, which, by the way, was not the first federal plan. The first federal plan was actually the Federal Road Aid Act of 1916. But the the Highway Trust Fund was the way they found to finance it going forward in a predictable, dependable way. That enabled us to build the interstate highway system.
And that was done during the Eisenhower administration.
1956.
Okay, during the Eisenhower
And they broke
administration.
ground 6 weeks later.
Yep.
Now, at first, fuel taxes covered it all. Now it only covers 65%.
Yep.
We currently charge 18.4 cents a gallon on gasoline, 24.4 cents a gallon for diesel fuel, far less than many other countries. Taxes haven't been adjusted for inflation and have not been raised in 25 years. U.S. federal tax dollars now only pay about 27% of transportation, construction, and maintenance. Guess who pays the rest?
The states?
You got it, buddy. And that, sir, is part of the problem. And, to set this up for the next segment, we talk about a fuel tax. Cars and trucks are becoming more fuel efficient, and Americans are driving less. And guess what? People aren't buying as much gasoline and diesel fuel, which means less fuel means less tax. Less tax means more pressure to find another solution. So when we come back, gasoline tax increase or not. This is Roadworthy Drive.
You're listening to Roadworthy Drive with Ken Chester on the Roadworthy Drive Radio Network.
Now, I actually do have a question, though. When you talked about the bridge collapse,
Yep.
Jack, in my neck of the woods, okay, and I think it was a couple years ago. It might have actually been last year. We've got bridges that are along the back roads and so on and so forth that have a weight restriction on them.
Right.
Which, obviously, if you're a feed trailer driver or a feed truck driver, you cannot go over these bridges.
Or a farmer bringing his crop home.
Yeah, you cannot go over these bridges. That
Right.
is a big no-no. As many people who see the signs that say, please do not travel, people have been known to travel.
Yep.
Last year, to the sum of, I think by the time it was all said and done, $5 million, a semi-truck driver decided to go over one of those bridges
He didn't
and
make it.
collapsed it. Yeah, and it collapsed. Now, in that sense, it wasn't Iowa that had to pay for that. It was the company that had to pay for that because their contention was that the truck is the one that broke it.
So you're proposing we wait till bridges fail?
I'm proposing that, yes, we just wait until a semi-truck driver.
Yeah.
No, but my question is that how much of that was actually because we are in a situation where some of these bridges are not.
It is more than you think, number one. Number two, Minnesota DOT knew that they had a problem with that bridge. And the engineers in their calculations figured they had, I don't know, let's just say for the sake of discussion, 7 to 8 years
Yeah,
to
right.
fix it.
Right.
Okay? It just failed.
Yeah.
It plain and simply
Weren't they
failed.
actually working on that bridge when it failed?
I don't remember.
I believe they were working on the decking
Yeah.
of that bridge when it failed.
And hasn't there been, and just because this kind of perked my interest, wasn't there just a report done on the United States bridges and
Yep.
and
Periodically there is. In fact, we talked about it here, that we were 13th out of 138 countries.
No. This one was just talking about
U.S. bridges.
U.S. bridges, and it was shortly after what happened there. And so they took a study. How long? How secure? How safe are our bridges? And we did not fare very well.
No.
No,
But-
not only did we not fare very well, but if you remember a couple years after that, and I'm hoping I get the location of this right.
Okay.
Someplace over in the Quad Cities, there was a bridge that was way up in the air. There was an interstate bridge going over the Mississippi.
Interstate 74.
Okay, then I'm right. That they literally shut it down
They were-
because of a bridge inspection.
Yeah.
And they literally had to come up with the money today to fix it.
Yeah. I believe that was it, that they put that on some severe weight restriction, 1 lane in each direction,
And
a number of years ago.
And then the day that they did this, they closed the damn thing, and everybody had to reroute around
Yeah,
that thing for
it was
almost a year and a half.
It was a mess. But hold this thought for the next segment, because that kind of works right into where we're going.
Okay.
9 minutes,
9
third
minutes.
segment.
Well, I bring it up during the, behind the scenes, because if we get into that actually on the show, then you're not going to be able to give forth all the information.
Well, we're taking it as far as we can.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, people, 9
Okay,
minutes.
I'm ready. Sasha, are you ready?
I am.
Is Sasha ever ready?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What's the minutes again?
9.
Thank you.
You need to give the girl a little credit, buddy.
A little?
A little.
Okay.
Microscopic.
Right there. Got you right there.
Thanks for trying, Jack. Thanks for trying.
You're welcome.
9 minutes, people.
Here we go.
Okay. Welcome to the downhill side of this hour of Roadworthy Drive. I'm so glad you could join us. I'm Ken Chester. The topic this hour is road upkeep and how it should be paid for. Before we get back to the issue at hand, a question. Have you visited our show website?
No.
What?
Jack!
I got
Really?
reaction value. That's all I'm here for.
Oh, my goodness. He's the adult in the room, people.
Mm-hmm.
Updated and easier to use, roadworthydrive.com is the right place for you to listen to past shows, watch behind the scenes as we produce the show in studio each week, and more. Sasha is the handy-dandy social media diva. I like that, handy-dandy social media diva.
Handy dandy.
Yeah. Now, Jack, that one was written late.
Okay.
Who keeps things light and lively during the week between shows with interesting and unique automotive tech news that you won't find anywhere else. See how she keeps the social and our social media. So here's the big question for you guys. You both own vehicles that burn gasoline.
Yes, sir.
Or the souls of small children, yeah.
Gasoline. Are you willing to spend more at the gas pump to repair the roads here? We've already been nicked once.
I don't get a choice.
Okay, but if you well, actually, you do have a choice.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You can buy a Tesla.
Well,
I
that's-
think what he's saying is that Jack has went a fairly long time in a truck and not, actually driven a car.
Yeah, but
I went a very long time without that. Am I willing to pay it? At this point, I don't see where I have a choice because I don't want to be on a bridge someday and the darn thing collapse while I'm on it.
okay, but let me ask it again.
Just don't go over bridges.
There you go. You do have a choice. One of the choices, you could have a second vehicle, if not a Tesla, a hybrid, an electric, the Nissan Leaf, Chevy Volt, the Toyota Prius. These are vehicles that if you wanted to get away from gasoline, you could as a second vehicle.
But at some point in time, they're going to find a way to start taxing the electricity to put on that vehicle.
I don't
I
think
This is how
disagree.
this game
Yeah.
works.
No,
because here's the thing. Most of your electric vehicles, they say, takes as much power as a toaster. So how exactly are they going to tax electricity? And if it only takes as much as a toaster, with solar power and so on?
Yeah, but you're missing the point, and you're not addressing the issue. You're complaining about the money. I'm asking, how are we going to fund this? If that's not
That
the
is
place,
a really good question.
because what I'm hearing from you is no. If I have a choice, no, is what I'm hearing, which is fine. You have that choice. My question is, if not that, you get every day you leave your driveway,
Mm-hmm.
you get the benefit of public roadways. the street in front of your house, the street over, the streets here, the highways you use.
Okay, I'm going to bring up a topic that's not going to make me popular.
Go for it.
These damn people who think the bicycle and the bicycle lanes are necessary down our streets in this town are out of their damn mind. The day that the bicyclists start paying for use of that road is the day they can be on them.
Can we actually say that in the radio?
I just did.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm a little bit miffed on that subject, but go on.
But here's the issue, Jack. That's one city's take, maybe a couple.
Oh, it's more than that.
But let's come back to the thing. They're not on the interstates. They're not on federal highways.
They're not supposed to be.
But they're not. Those need repair. And the question still remains. If a gas tax is not the way, what is?
Well, if gas tax is not the way, the only other option you got is toll.
Okay, that's one way. But the offset to that, which is actually in a way more fair, if you're using the road, you pay for the road. That's fair. Unfortunately, if you are of lower income, roads that are technically free, you're not paying to use them directly. You're paying in the gasoline you use.
Yeah,
but not
non-toll
directly.
road.
It could be a problem for you, particularly if you live in a rural area and the only way you can get to work is through a toll road.
Yeah.
There are ways around that too. You can give a credit, you can give an exemption, whatever,
Okay,
below a certain level.
Here's my question. What answer do you have for that question?
I think it's a variety of questions. I think it's a variety of answers.
Okay.
I'm not totally thrilled of a toll road, but the thought of somebody driving their Tesla on the same road paying zip for its upkeep bothers me a bit. So toll roads may be part of the answer. The only way I could go with a toll road or roads in which there are fees, there are several different solutions. One of them is called variable pricing. We talked about that toll road in Virginia, and that had the effect of regulating traffic depending on what you were willing to pay. I think that's part of the answer. I've used a couple of toll roads recently when I went to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
In Illinois, if you have the electric device for the toll road, you pay half of what somebody paying cash pays. So that encourages you.
And that's discrimination.
Well, it may be, but it's less cost. It's less cost for them. And businesses do that all the time,
but
Jack.
Maybe I don't have the means to buy the dang little device they've got.
Then you'll probably be driving other roads. And actually, for the record, the device doesn't cost anything. You do have to put money on it, minimum of $30.
Okay, you show me a economically challenged individual that is able to do that, and the closest way to get to point A to point B and save gas is to use that dang toll
Yeah,
road.
but one of the things is that you're either going to be putting out the money in
Gasoline?
more gas to go around it, or you're going to pay the money up front to use the road.
And I think as we get closer and this becomes more of an issue, I think it's a matter of exemption based on income.
But I think things like this, I think what Ken is bringing up with toll roads and how you're going to get more money for that infrastructure, it's going to push people away from actual vehicle ownership.
Now, I don't want to sound dumb here, but I thought I heard that the current administration was coming up with some kind of public, state, private partnership to start working on infrastructure.
Yeah, let me help you with that.
Okay.
Most of the money spent now is by the states and the cities now, and they don't have enough money to do it. And the plan by the current administration is that money is only like seed money. You're looking at $1 trillion they want to spend, but they're only going to put up $200 billion. That ain't going to get it done. The states and cities are already complaining now. We're spending 95% of this money, and the formulas that are being used are skewed towards new projects, not repair and maintenance. So to get the federal money, most of it, 95% of it, according to the government itself, is spent for the highways for the improvement, expansion, and major repair, with only 5% spent for operation and maintenance. Now, since 2008, the feds have kicked in to make the Highway Trust Fund solvent, $143 billion. And they got to deal with it again because it's going to be insolvent by 2021, 2022. So food for thought there. We're going to continue on that, and I'm going to talk about some ways that maybe the federal government could utilize the money that they have more efficiently that might give the states and cities some help. Highway spending, a better way. Roadworthy Drive with Ken Chester is heard exclusively on the Roadworthy Drive Radio Network.
This is Roadworthy Drive.
Mike's up?
Mike's up.
Okay, here's the thing. Cities and towns, to address your first issue, you're talking about a quality of life. Millennials want to ride their bikes. Cities are looking for ways to be less congested. In New York City, you're more likely in Manhattan to get hit by a bicycle than a car.
Yeah.
Having just been there last year,
Well,
it's
and-
sidewalk. The way they had it laid out, it's sidewalk, bike path, parking, street.
Which you are
And
not,
when you
which,
walk off that sidewalk, you're going to get hit by a bike if you ain't paying attention.
which I can tell you in the town that we live in, over in the East Village, on Grand Avenue, that's exactly what they've just done.
Yeah. But
Well-
they're also, but we don't have time to get into it.
Oh, I know.
But what you're looking at is quality of life. Millennials want to ride their bikes to work.
But here's
And there are people that are ecologically sensitive to what's going on, as well as cities that want less congestion in their cities. So that is kind of a quality, it's more a quality of life issue, but it's still only a small piece of the hundreds of thousands of miles of road, even in this state. You know, once you get outside the big cities, you're rural. Here's a weird fact for you. The federal government doesn't differentiate between a mile of rural highway and a mile of urban highway, although the urban highway will get more wear and needs more money.
I just have 2 points. First of all, I am 135 against anything that has to do with taxing or applying a fee to a bicycle all day, every day. Why? And it's just because of a big government issue. Seriously, let me have my dang bike. Let me have my bike.
Okay.
And here's the thing. Are you going to treat it like fishing? So, like, if my 2-year-old has her bike and we're going out, or my 8-year-old has a bike, or the kids that ride the bikes when they're, and no kid does this anymore. And if there is a kid that's doing this, sorry, but the newspaper delivery, you know, with the bike, I know, right? I did it.
I did it.
I did it.
I don't see them anymore, but you know. So I mean, the other point that I'm going to make, as we see more and more alternative fuels, and we have more and more vehicles that are made here in about, what would you say, 3 to 5 years, we're going to have used electric vehicles on the market.
We have them now.
Well, yeah. And
We have them now.
I know there are some, but I'm saying
You
here.
can buy a used Tesla Model S.
I know that's right.
You can buy
and
a
I
used
plan
Nissan
to.
Leaf and a used Chevy Volt right now
But
in America.
as we see more and more people being able to not spend $100 and some odd thousand for a vehicle, maybe spend 30 to 40 for an electric vehicle.
Not even that much for used.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
though?
you can own a Leaf for less
Now
than
all of a sudden you're opening up to a whole other venue. Now, my question is, as we're seeing more and more people go to alternative fuels, and as we're seeing less people go to the gas pumps, okay, I truly think that these are going to be contributing factors to the fact that people are going to move away from owning a vehicle. If you start telling them because you own this vehicle, you're going to have to pay whatever pricing to go down this road. Just like Jack was saying, they either got to pay more for the gas to go around the road that's going to cost them, or they've got to take the road. Not to mention the fact Jack brought up another good point. The tax or the tags to license that vehicle is going to go up to recompensate.
Okay, stop. On the one hand, y'all took a piece of it, just a piece, and ran too far with it.
In the weeds?
Way in the
Do
weeds.
we go in the weeds, Jack?
I didn't think we.
Yeah,
no,
you did.
I just thought I was making a common sense
Let me bring
point.
you full circle to the point at hand. Yeah, there are some cities and some municipalities and some parts of cities that are experimenting with bicycles other ways. The larger problem is we have hundreds of thousands of miles of roads, federal and non-federal, in this country that need attention. We have the thing I keep beating like a dead horse, mobility. That is this whole, I call it a mosaic because it's not one thing and it's not one way.
Right.
It's many ways, looking at some stuff we know, some stuff we don't know, some weird stuff that's going to be thrown together, other stuff that's going to be pulled apart, that is going to determine roads will still be used, but it's not going to be as easy or as convenient to determine how these roads should be maintained, where that money is coming from.
Right.
My argument is expecting the state and local governments to cough up even more money is ridiculous. They're already to the wall now and can't meet the need.
Yep.
That's hardcore fact. All the other stuff you talked about is more mobility issues. As mobility starts to affect the way, and we move away from the monolithic issue of retail ownership of a personal vehicle, as that starts to drop in substantially, there's a whole bunch of other problems we got to talk about, which we will in the future. Just as a piece, the cost of tags for a state or a county, the cost of where the state gets a cut when you buy a new car.
Yep.
That goes away. If you're not buying it,
They're not getting the taxes off of it.
Yeah.
What happens to your insurance agent? What happens to how insurance is even bought and sold in the United States? There's a million different things, but the issue at hand.
Where's the money going to come from?
Need the money. Gasoline tax increase is not the answer, because bottom line, economics 101. When the cost of an item gets high enough, it makes the cost of substitutes cheaper.
Yep.
And it makes those substitutes an option.
Yep.
If you rise gas taxes enough, in some people's cases, it's going to tip the scales of, you know what? Why should I buy a vehicle that burns gasoline when I can buy a used electric vehicle for the same money that doesn't burn any gasoline?
That's exactly the point that I'm at. And that's what I was saying. For me personally, I can't go places with my children because the gas is so expensive now. I mean, I've got the money to go, but then I won't have the money to, gas up the vehicle. Now, do I spend $25,000 and get a newer car that's got better gas mileage, or do I buy myself a used Tesla?
You don't even have to go that far. For between $12,000 to $15,000, you can buy a Chevy Bolt.
No.
Hold on. A Volt with a V.
No.
Or a Nissan Leaf right now.
Nope.
Well, and
I mean, they're choices, not maybe for you, but they're choices.
Yeah, I want to be in more than a Cracker Jack box.
Well, I can't help you there.
Well, and not that too, but you also need to have more room too.
Yeah. See, and that's my point.
You know.
It's going to be, but I mean, I get what you're saying, and I totally understand that you're right. Jack and I took one piece of they are going to charge us more because we are vehicle owners.
Well,
and he brings up a point that kind of got swallowed up because while we're trying to dodge what's going to happen, we're not focusing on the issue that actually is. Where is the money going to come from?
Well, and that's a question that I've had. But, he asked me about, if I'm using the road, I should pay for it.
Yeah.
And this is where my argument with the bikes came from.
Right.
Okay? This is what really ticks me off. Because I'm sorry, this town has spent an ungodly amount of money to remark streets.
Yep.
And to screw streets up. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And it's like, to me, that is absolutely 100% stupid. The day they pay tags is the day they can be on the damn street. If not, too damn bad. Figure it out yourself.
But wait a minute. But here's the problem. In this city, there are 800 miles of roads. 800. How many miles are marked like that? I bet less than 10. Since we're going there, let's go there.
And you may be right. However, they picked the most traveled roads to do this on.
Well, yeah,
that may be, but again, I'm not going to litigate a local issue.
No,
because the bigger problem is.
But you're seeing jurisdictions around the country do this.
Until I see a bicycle legally on a federal interstate or a state highway.
What do you call ragbri?
I wasn't. Yep.
What? Call what now?
Ragbri.
Blocked off roads, though. Economic benefit to the cities and towns, whole different thing.
Okay. Are you ready to
do
do
a whole different
statement
thing?
But the other thing is,
hold on a minute.
I got one more thing that I want to say. Never mind. I lost it. I have no idea. You were talking about. Stop. Oh, I remember. You were talking about bicycles, right?
Right.
In my neck of the woods, my already cash-strapped counties had to put in the ditches signage for the snowmobilers.
Most counties have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Most counties have, including this one.
And what makes it worse is that if you injure yourself in one of those
ditches,
yeah, that's not on you. That's on they can go after the state for not having proper signage.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. I'd like to see that.
It hasn't been contested
I would love
yet,
to stretch that argument for one thing.
Yeah.
I can't go shoot Bambi without having tags.
Right. I know that's right.
Okay, but Bambi can destroy my car,
and
the state should have to pay for it.
Yes.
Like I said, don't fear for deer. I was like, fine, you're going to pay
Well,
for it? No.
but-
My argument is with the DOT.
And honestly,
that point.
What makes me mad as somebody that my car has been violently attacked by Bambi, okay?
Yep.
That wasn't even your car. Put your hand down.
But it was attacked.
It doesn't count.
It was
yes,
corny
it does.
deer.
It was attacked.
Thank you.
But he didn't have to. Okay. My car was attacked by Bambi.
Yes.
Okay. Bambi came out, tried to commit suicide using my baby HHR. Okay. Now, why did my insurance then, because I filed a claim because I was attacked while I was going down the road, my insurance company put it against me.
Yep.
Because it was an accident. Now, again.
You know what? Like the commercial says, you got the wrong insurance company.
I know that's right. Because I was
changed.
doing nothing wrong.
I'd have changed.
Well,
no.
I did.
Sasha,
that's
I wish I had the audio from a friend of Ken's and mine who used to host a show on our home affiliate.
Okay.
Who literally called the DOT one day and wanted them to pay him money that he told a 15, 16-year-old Toyota truck, one of the older Toyota trucks,
right.
that this boy was driving until the wheels fell off. To hear that was probably one of the most funniest bits in radio I have ever heard. And his arguments were exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I got attacked.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is the thing that we've got to get to a point where, and Ken's right, you and I were one-sided about it. Why? Because I think, honestly, between you and I and Ken, it affects us the most.
Yeah.
We're out trying to make a living.
Yep.
And, now they're going to start putting all this other stuff on us. I'm glad I don't live where my brother lives in Kansas.
Oh, right.
Because my tags would be $3,500, $4,000 a year.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Yeah.
They have personal property tax.
Yeah.
Oh.
But again, people, the bottom line is we have roads. They need to be repaired.
Well,
And I understand your concern, but I'm going to argue exactly the attitudes you both have portrayed is why we got here.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay.
Nobody wants to pay for
And
it.
I don't know where they think the money's coming from. Manna from heaven? I don't know.
But they're sure what.
But,
I'm not going to say that.
I mean, it costs money to drive. The railroad's biggest argument down through the years where they were losing business because truckers were being subsidized by the roads that were being put in.
Yep.
If anybody had a primary argument on that, it was the railroads because they were out of pocket. And you realize they pay taxes on every mile of that on top of everything else? Maintenance, they got to keep it up themselves. They don't get any government subsidies.
Nope.
Unless it's an Amtrak. Then they get a little bit of money, but still not what they need.
Nope.
So enough of that.
Okay.
8 minutes, 50 seconds. This ought to be fun.
And this is why you tune in to Behind the Scenes.
Yeah, because you
For
really get an
these
earful for sure. No.
You know,
And occasionally we wander into the weeds.
I hate to ask this question,
Oh, Lord.
but am I being too passionate here?
No.
About time. You come out
I
good.
know, right?
About
right?
time.
You know,
Okay.
Passionate's good.
passionate's good.
We like passion.
As long as you're educated, passionate. Screeching from the sound from the top of your voice that, the sky is purple with, yellow polka dots.
What?
Stop.
It's not?
Stop.
Oh,
Just because you heard it on
Doggone
some
it.
big name talk show does not make it true.
he's been. Never mind.
Okay.
I was going to go somewhere that could get me into a lot of trouble.
8 minutes, 50 seconds. We're in the last segment. Okay,
Last
you guys
segment,
ready?
guys. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Here we go.
This is the last part of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ken Chester. We just had, between the break, one of the most passionate conversations we've ever had. You would think that highway maintenance and taxes would not get people riled, but then again, this is the RoadWorthy Drive crew. We're passionate about a lot of stuff.
Wait. Taxes not getting people riled?
Well, when
mean-
it comes to highways,
Well,
apparently it does right here.
Any kind of tax
Right?
will get people riled up.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but my argument is twofold. One, that money's got to come from somewhere,
Yep.
and you can't keep starving something and expect it to continue to flourish.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
Where is a better way for us to find the money? Because honestly, Bud, I'm being very honest. I don't see where it comes from.
And that's part of the problem. The Highway Trust Fund
Right.
used to fund 100% of the cost.
Right.
Now, way less than that.
You said 65%, right?
I'd have to look at that, but it hasn't increased in 25 years. Part of that due to inflation, part of that, due to the cost of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the dollars have gone down. Plus, Congress has been throwing money at this, and I didn't realize this until I did the research for this piece, for the last 10 years. And lots of money. As we mentioned in the last segment, from now through, for the next 5 years, through 2021, 2022, 5 years, $281 billion they pulled from somewhere else to put in the Highway Trust Fund.
Okay.
And it's still not going to get it done. And that's way more than the $143 billion from 2008 to last year.
So what is your better way?
Okay. Well, I think it's a variety of things. Now, I'm going to quote some of this from the Congressional Budget Office. They issued a report back in 2016, approaches to make federal highway spending more productive. Now, it's not going to solve all the problems, but they looked at within the framework of what they were doing at the federal level and looked at some ways that they could come to grips with this. Now, they talked about, and I'm going to skip around a little bit, 3 approaches that Congress could consider when make highway spending more productive. 1, have the federal government or allow states and private businesses to charge drivers directly for their use of roads more often, including charging them more for using roads when traffic is more congested. Think Virginia with variable tolls. Remember that?
Yeah, remember that.
Okay. 2, allocate funds to states on the basis of benefits and costs of specific programs and projects. And where they're going with that is look at the projects that would bring the most economic benefit to that area. There's some that would reduce bottlenecks or doing maintenance on those that would take the pressure off in other words, just instead of just spending money willy-nilly because it's a road that needs to be fixed, you put the roads in priority order. And we've done that here. In fact, with our highway through town here, we 10 years ago spent, was that $435 million for a 10-year project?
Yeah, from 2002 to 2012.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I think it was kind of over in 2001 when they expanded the highway and they reconfigured it.
And they redid all the bridges and all the pavement.
They took another 120 homes and businesses. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they actually expanded in order to straighten some stuff out. But some of that stuff was really messed up with some really, I'll be gentle, difficult on-ramps and off-ramps.
Yes.
That, for the most part, are better now, meaning less people died, less congestion, more throughput, because the road had, the traffic had outgrown the road.
Yeah.
By quite a bit. So it's a matter of they put the money there as opposed to putting the money on a city street.
That's true.
And that would do more good. And that's what they're talking about. You know, put some priority on the projects that you allocate the money for.
So what you're saying is put more of the money in the cities instead of on the highways.
Well, more in the cities and less in the rural. Right now, federal highway formulas don't differentiate between a mile of rural highway as opposed to a mile of urban highway.
I understand that, but you also had the same problem, and Sasha talked to us about earlier, about the bridge collapsing.
But it wasn't a federal highway.
It was not.
And it wasn't a state highway.
No.
And I'm willing to bet it wasn't a county road either. A paved county road, I bet it was a gravel county road.
I believe it was gravel.
Enough said.
Okay.
Maintained by the county. You know, there is some federal money available, but because it doesn't fall into the top 3 classifications for federal funding, that's all out of the state pocket and to a lesser extent the county's pocket.
Okay.
So, and that's just the way it is. The third thing they were looking at, the third thing, link spending more closely to performance measures, such as ones for traffic congestion or road quality, by providing additional funds to states that meet the standards or penalizing states that do not. In other words, if you want better roads and you want a better outcome, you reward the people who figured it out and you penalize the folks that don't, which will give them an incentive to get with the program rather than spending money willy-nilly. Right now, the federal formulas are for new roads or enhancements to existing roads, not repair and maintenance. Most of the repair and maintenance is still coming out of state and local pockets. That is the problem.
And isn't that where the majority of the expense is, though?
Yeah, and they could use some help. But the federal formulas don't do that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, there are 4 different classifications of road. And I'm wondering if I can find that real quick. Right here. Number 1, for purposes of distributing federal highway funding, the federal government identifies 4 categories of roads. Number 1 and obvious, highways in an interstate system. 2, roads in the national highway system, composed of interstates and other roads serving significant population centers. Those would be your U.S. highways. Another one, federal aid highways, made up of interstates and most other roads that are not local roads. And then finally, non-federal aid roads, which in Sasha's case would be a non-federal aid road. A county road would not get federal money.
A paved county road.
Doesn't say paved.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, sir. It says, and I'll read it real quick, mostly local roads and certain others that are typically not eligible for federal aid in the federal classification system, local roads that are 2-lane roads that are usually owned by local governments and function almost entirely to provide access. And in her case, that would be that kind of road.
Yep.
So here we go. We've come to another end of an hour together. On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive crew, folks, thanks for listening. You have been tuned to RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is a copyrighted presentation of the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of the Motor News Media Corporation.
I need a nap after that show.
Yeah. I'll put it to you this way. It's convenient, and honestly, the federal government has been sending unfunded or underfunded state mandates for years. The problem is the state budgets are way more limited into what they can do. So providing $200 billion in seed money to trigger $1 billion in spending when the states are spending most of their money already on roads and highways and need some help isn't going to cut it. That's the problem.
Okay.
You know, it sounds nice. Oh, we want to spend $1 trillion. Great. Where's that money coming from? Well, we're going to seed it with $200 billion. Fine. There's some risk in privatizing some roads because you won't get the service that you need because they're going to concentrate on where they can make the money, so that if you are a consumer that's a little bit out the way, it might work against you. So that's not totally always the right way.
Okay, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
As far as I am concerned, and I have for years, because when we travel, we usually go south and then we go west.
Mm-hmm.
I have spent a lot of time on the Kansas Turnpike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is one of the most well-maintained roads I have ever seen.
And may I preempt you? Didn't you tell me that Kansas drivers pay a personal property tax on their tags?
Yep.
I rest my case.
Well, but no. What they have said about the Turnpike is that the Turnpike literally between with the tolls is what takes care of it.
Okay, so from Emporia to the line, it is fully funded.
It is fully funded.
But then again, it's also Interstate 35 is a major corridor.
Correct.
So you're going to have that kind of traffic. But what if you're in the western part of the state, say Garden City, Hayes,
Dodge City,
Liberal, anything west of Hutchinson?
Yep.
People still need to get by. Closing thought for you. The reason why rural America has telephone service, the reason why rural America has electricity, is that private funds was insufficient because of the density per mile to actually spend the money. They weren't going to get their investment back. Mm-hmm. That is why the federal government made money available and why most of those organizations out here are co-ops. Yep. But if it took the federal government to create a model so that people could get served. The problem with roads is you may end up in a similar situation because you're going to have situations where people need to get to where they need to go, but the densities aren't enough to support the investment. So on it goes.
Yep.
On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive crew, Jack, Sasha, and myself, we appreciate you dropping by. We hope that you'll tune in with us next weekend at the same time. We do it all again. Y'all take care now. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.